Hello, welcome students. So today we'll revise the second lesson, that is Two Deer. Two Deer is a novel written by Leo Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy, a Russian writer, novelist. He's a very famous person. He has written a lot of novels, and this is a very interesting story. Two Deer. So two deer means too costly. You came across this phrase in Romeo and Juliet. For earth, too dear. Juliet was too dear for the earth. That means too costly. She is heavenly. ಅದೇ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿನೂ. Here, too dear means too costly. See the story. Here, the story takes place in a place called Monaco. Monaco is a small country in Europe. It is lying on the borders of France and Italy, on the shore of the Mediterranean Sea. A very small country. Only 7,000 people. Okay, and it is ruled by a kinglet. Kinglet means small king who had everything, just like a king, big king. He had a palace, he had courtiers, he had ministers, he had a bishop and all that. So, it was a peaceful country. People were very good. They were all peace-loving. But suddenly, some unusual incident took place. A murder was committed. And the king was shocked. He called all the ministers. They discussed. They wanted to do something. So they all decided to have the criminal's head cut off. To kill him. To cut his head off. But there was some problem. They did not have a machine for cutting the head and also an expert to cut the head. So what they thought, they wrote a letter to nearby countries, France and Italy. They asked for a machine and also an expert. France demanded 16,000 francs and Italy demanded 12,000 francs. So both were very costly for them. So they could not afford. Again, the king called the ministers. They all discussed. And then they thought, we'll put him in the jail. Give him life imprisonment. So, again there was some problem. They did not have a prison, permanent room. There was only a small lockup. And finally they made some arrangement for a room. And then he was put there. And a guard was placed. The guard brought daily food from the palace kitchen and he was very happy eating and taking rest. Then after 1 year, the king saw the expenditure, income and expenditure. There was some extra expenditure and that was for the maintenance of the criminal. The guard was there, food was there. So they found out it was about 600 francs per year. So the king again discussed with the ministers. They all said, we will leave him free, let him go. That is the best thing. So the minister of justice called the criminal and told him, you are free, you can go wherever you want. But the criminal refused. I won't go. You have spoiled my career. First you told me that you will kill me, you do not kill me. Then you said life imprisonment. Again you do not do that. Now you are telling me to go free. Where can I go? I don't have anybody. I don't know any job. People will turn their backs on me. So he does not want to go. Then again the king called all the ministers. They assembled, they discussed. Then one of them suggested, let us give him some pension and send him. So they decided to give 600 francs as a pension for him. And then 1/3 of his annuity. Annuity means yearly pension. Okay. And then he was allowed to go. Then he said, I'll go on one condition, that my pension should be paid regularly. So they agreed. So he went out. He traveled by train for about 15 minutes, crossed the border. He bought some land. Then he did some market gardening. Then he lived very happily. So every month he used to come for the pension. And then he used to go and gamble for some time. And then he used to go away. One more thing I forgot to tell was, in Monaco, then the king did not have sufficient income to maintain the government. So he allowed gambling. There were gaming houses where people came from all over Europe and they played roulette. And then money was coming, and with that he was able to maintain the palace, the courtiers and the ministers. Now let us go to the textual part of it. See the text. So near the borders of France and Italy, on the shore of the Mediterranean Sea, lies a tiny little kingdom called Monaco. So where is the kingdom of Monaco lie? It lies near the borders of France and Italy on the shore of the Mediterranean Sea. Sir, one more question. Many a small country town can boast more inhabitants than this kingdom. That means the population was very less. For there are only about 7,000 of them all. Only 7,000 people. And if all the land in the kingdom were divided, there would not be an acre for each inhabitant. If they divide the land, even 1 acre they will not get. That means the area was less than 7,000 acres. But in this toy kingdom, there is a real kinglet. And he has a palace, courtiers, ministers, bishop, generals and an army. So everything he had. Just like a big king, big country. He too had everything. He had a palace, he had the courtiers, ministers, bishop, generals and an army. It is not a large army, not a big army. Only 60 men in all. So how many soldiers were there? Only 60 men. But it's still an army. There are also taxes in the kingdom, as elsewhere. A tax on tobacco, and on wine and spirits, and a poll tax. So one more questions. Name the taxes levied by the king of Monaco. Tax on tobacco, tax on wine and spirits, and a poll tax. But though the people there drink and smoke as people do in other countries, there are so few of them that the prince would have been hard to put to it to feed his courtiers and officials and to keep himself. So this income from these taxes, that is tobacco, wine, spirits, poll tax, it was not sufficient for the maintenance of the government. So then if he had not found a new and a special source of revenue, so the king thought, and then finally he found out a special source of revenue. This special revenue comes from a gaming house. Gaming house andre gambling house, where people play roulette. Roulette is the game. Just like Ispit in Tivalva, adhe tara roulette. People play, and whether they win or lose, the keeper always gets a percentage on the turnover. And out of his profits, he pays a large sum to the prince. The reason he pays is so much is that it is the only such gambling establishment left in Europe. See what happened? Gambling was forbidden in all the European countries. And Monaco was the only country where gambling was allowed. So he was getting a lot of income. People from all over Europe, they used to come to Monaco. They used to gamble. They used to spend some money. And the government was getting in money from that. Okay. People play, and whether they win or lose, the keeper always gets a percentage on the turnover, and out of his profits, he pays a large sum to the prince. So, the income is paid to the prince also. Part of the income goes to him. The reason he pays so much is that it is the only such gambling establishment left in Europe. It was forbidden in all the other countries. So except in Monaco. Some of the little German sovereigns means kings, used to keep gaming houses of the same kind. But some years ago, they were forbidden to do so. Germany also, they abolished, they abandoned, they forbidden all the gaming houses. The reason they were stopped was because these gaming houses did so much harm. A man would come and try his luck, then he would risk all he had and lose it. Then he would even risk his money that did not belong to him and lose that too, and then in despair he would drown or shoot himself. So the Germans forbade their rulers to make money in this way. But there was no one to stop the Prince of Monaco, and he remained with the monopoly of the business. So Monaco, there was nobody to control him. So he continued to have these gaming houses where gambling was done. So he was getting income from there. So now everyone who wants to gamble goes to Monaco. Whether they win or lose, the prince gains by it. You can't earn stone palaces by honest labor. This is a proverb which means if you are very, very honest, if you are a good worker, honest worker, you can't make a lot of money, you can't build big houses and all that. That means only if you have bad habits, if you cheat somebody, then only you will be able to earn. That is the meaning of this. As the proverb says, and the kinglet of Monaco knows it is a dirty business. The kinglet also knows that gambling is a dirty business. But what is he to do? Anivarya. He has to live, and to draw a revenue from the drink and from tobacco is also not a nice thing. So he lives and drains and rakes in the money and holds his court with all the ceremony of a real king. That means he was getting sufficient money to run the government, to maintain the courtiers, ministers and everything. He has what all he was having. He has his coronation. Coronation means ceremony. Patabhisheka, ceremony. His levees. Levees means guestಗಳನ್ನು ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡುವುದು, ಅವರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡುವುದು. That is levees. He rewards, sentences and pardons, and he also has his reviews, councils, laws and courts of justice, just like other kings, only all on a smaller scale. That means everything he had, just like a big king. Coronation, levies, rewards, sentences, pardons, reviews, councils, laws and courts of justice. But everything was on a small scale. Next page. Now, it happened a few years ago that a murder was committed in this prince's domains. Suddenly, a murder was committed. The people of that kingdom are peaceable, and such a thing had not happened before. People were good people. They were peace-loving. So, they were very much shocked to see this murder. The judges assembled with much ceremony and tried the case in the most judicial manner. There were judges, prosecutors, jurymen and barristers. They argued and judged, and at last they condemned the criminal to have his head cut off as the law directs. So after so much of discussion, they decided to cut his head off, to cut the criminal's head. So far, so good. Next, they submitted a sentence to the prince. Prince has to sign it. The prince read the sentence and confirmed it. If the fellow must be executed, execute him. If he has to be killed, kill him. There was only one hitch in the matter. There was some problem. The hitch means problem. And that was that they had neither a guillotine for cutting the heads off nor an executioner. Avartha cutting machine illa. Amele expertu illa. The ministers considered the matter and decided to address an inquiry to the French government, asking whether the French could not lend them a machine and an expert to cut off the criminal's head, and if so, would the French kindly inform them what it would cost. The letter was sent. A week later, the reply came. A machine and an expert could be supplied, and the cost would be 16,000 francs. So the French government replied, they said we can supply a machine and an expert, but only that it will cost you 16,000 francs. This was laid before the king. He thought it over. 16,000 francs. The wretch is not worth the money, said he. Avanu mere ashtu yake kharchu madbeku? Can't it be done somehow cheaper? Why 16,000 francs is more than 2 francs a head on the whole population. The people won't stand it, and it may cause a riot. People adike oppalla, janaru oppalla, avaru galata martare. So again a council was called to consider what could be done, and it was decided to send a similar inquiry to the king of Italy. Nearby country yaudu? Italy. France akada, Italy ikkada. The French government is republican and has no proper respect for a king. So France is a republican government ruled by a president. King illali. So adrinda they don't respect a king. But the king of Italy was a brother monarch. One more question though. Who was the brother monarch of, that is king of Italy, and might be induced to do the thing cheaper. So the letter was written and a prompt reply was received. The Italian government wrote that they would have the pleasure in supplying both a machine and an expert, and the whole cost would be 12,000 francs, including travelling expenses. This was cheaper, but still it seemed too much. The rascal was really not worth the money. It would still mean nearly 2 francs more per head on the taxes. Another council was called. They discussed and considered how it could be done with less expense. Could not one of the soldiers, next page, perhaps we got to do it in a rough and a homely fashion, because there is an army, 60 soldiers are there. So we can call one soldier to do this, to cut his head. The general was called and was asked, can't you find a soldier who would cut the man's head off? In war, they don't mind killing people. In fact, that is what they are trained for. So the general talked it over with the soldiers to see whether one of them would not undertake the job. But none of the soldiers would do it. No, they said, we don't know how to do it. It is not a thing we have been taught. So soldiers yaru opplilla. Namige barala adantare. Yuddhadalli bekare ನಾವು shoot ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಒಬ್ಬನ ಸಾಯಿಸ್ತೀವಿ, but cutting the head, it is not, we are not trained for that. Now what was to be done? Again, the ministers considered and reconsidered. They assembled a commission and a committee and a subcommittee. And at last, they decided that the best thing would be to alter the death sentence to one of imprisonment for life. This would enable the prince to show his mercy and it would come cheaper. So, if they alter the sentence and make it into life imprisonment, it will have an advantage that the people will think that king is quite merciful, and also it would become cheaper. The prince agreed. And so the matter was arranged. The only hitch now was that there was no suitable prison for a man sentenced for life. Again there is a problem. What problem? Room illa. There is no proper jail for keeping a prisoner. There was a small lockup where people were sometimes kept temporarily, but there was no strong prison fit for permanent use. However, they managed to find a place that would do, and they put the young fellow there and placed a guard over him. The guard had to watch the criminal and had also to fetch his food from the palace kitchen. So they put a guard, and then the guard has to bring food daily from the palace kitchen and give him. And he was happy, enjoying, eating and taking rest. The prisoner remained there month after month till a year had passed. 1 year passed. And when a year had passed, The kinglet, looking over the account of his income and expenditure one day, noticed a small new item of expenditure. So king was going through the income and expenditure, and something was new, some extra expenditure. This was for the keep of the criminal. This was for the maintenance of the criminal, because there was a guard and 3 times meals. Idalla. Nor was it a small item either. There was a special guard, and there was also the man's food. It came to more than 600 francs a year. So, ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂತು? 600 francs per year. And the worst of it was that the fellow was still young and healthy. Another problem is, the fellow was quite young. He will live many years and might live for 50 years. ಒಂದು 50 ವರ್ಷ ಅವನು ಬದುಕಬಹುದು ಅವನು. When one came to reckon it up, the matter was serious. It would never do it. So the prince summoned his ministers and said to them, "You must find some cheaper way of dealing with the rascal. The present plan is too expensive." And the ministers met and considered and reconsidered, till one of them said, "Gentlemen, in my opinion, we must dismiss the guard." So one minister suggested, "We'll dismiss the guard, so some expenditure will be less." But then rejoined another. Another minister said, "The fellow will run away. Guard illa andre avanu odogbidtana avanu." "Well," said the first speaker, "let him run away. Hogli bidu, and we hang to him. It is better that he runs away." So they reported the results of their deliberations to the kinglet, and he agreed with them. The guard was dismissed, and they waited to see what would happen. So they removed the guard, and they were just watching. Yen martanen. All that happened was that at dinner time, the criminal came out, and not finding his guard, he went to the prince's kitchen to fetch his own dinner. Avane hoda, ota tagondu banda. He took what was given him, returned to the prison, shut the door on himself, and stayed inside. So ota time correct agi hogi ota tagondu banda, and he went inside. Next day, the same thing occurred. Next day ade correct time ota hoda, ota tagondu banda. He went for his food at the proper time, but as for running away, he did not show the least sign of it. What was to be done? They considered the matter again. "We shall have to tell him straight out," said they, "that we do not want to keep him." So the minister of justice had him brought before him. The minister of justice called him. Then, before him. "Why do you not run away?" said the minister. "There is no guard to keep you. You can go where you like, and the prince will not mind." So minister called him and told him, "Why don't you run away? King will not ask anything. You can run away." "I dare say the prince would not mind. Nanu gottu. Prince enu kelala," replied the man. "But I have nowhere to go. Elli hogodu nanu? What can I do? Yen kelsa baruthu nanage? Yav kelasanu baralla. You have ruined my character by your sentence, and the people will turn their backs on me. Yaru nanage maryada kodalla. Besides, I have got out of the way of working. Kelsa ella martogide nanage. Yav kelasanu madak baralla. You have treated me badly. It is not fair. In the first place, when once you sentenced me to death, you ought to have executed me. First time ನೀವು ನನಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ? ಡೆತ್ ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ನನ್ನ ಸಾಯಿಸಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ನೀವು ಸಾಯಿಸಿಲ್ಲ. But you did not do it. That is one thing. I did not complain about that. ನನ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು. Then you sentenced me to imprisonment for life, and put a guard to bring me my food. But after a time, you took him away again, and I had to fetch my own food. Again, I did not complain. ನಾನು ಏನು ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಗಾರ್ಡನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ತೆಗೆಸಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಏನು ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ ನಾನು. But now, you actually want me to go away. I can't agree to that. You may do as you like, but I won't go away. ನಾನು ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. What was to be done? ಕಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಭಾಳ ಅಪ್ಸೆಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು ಈಗ? Once more, the council was summoned. What course could they adopt? The man would not go. They reflected and considered. The only way to get rid of him was to offer him a pension. So only method was to give him a pension. And so they reported to the prince. There's nothing else for it, said they. We must get rid of him somehow. The sum fixed was 600 francs, and this was announced to the prisoner. So finally, they decided to give him a pension. How much pension? 600 francs. Okay. Then finally, they called the criminal. Well, said he, I don't mind, so long as you undertake to pay it regularly. On that condition, I am willing to go. ಅವನು ಹೇಳಿದ, ನನಗೇನಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ಬಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಮಂತ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ನನಗೆ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್ ಬಂದುಬಿಡಬೇಕು. So the matter was settled. They agreed. He received 1/3 of his annuity in advance and left the king's dominions. 1/3 of his annuity ಅಂದರೆ ಆ್ಯನ್ಯುವಲ್ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್. ಆ್ಯನ್ಯುವಲ್ ಪೆನ್ಷನ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರ್ತದೆ? 600 into 12 months. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗ. It comes about 2,400 francs. Then it was only a quarter of an hour by rail and he emigrated. Just 15 minutes. ಟ್ರೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ 15 minutes ಒಳಗೆ he crossed the border. Then he settled across the frontier where he bought a bit of land, started market gardening, and now lives comfortably. He always goes at the proper time to draw his pension. Having received it, he goes to the gaming tables, stakes 2 or 3 francs, sometimes wins and sometimes loses, and then returns home. He lives peacefully and well. So every month he was going, taking his pension, going to the gaming table, playing 1 or 2 stakes, and then whether he wins or loses doesn't bother. He used to come back. It's a good thing that he did not commit his crime in a country where they did not grudge expense to cut a man's head off or to keep him in prison for life. So he was lucky that he was in Monaco. ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶಗಾಗಿದ್ರೆ immediately they would have killed him or they would have put him in the prison. So he feels that it is better that he is in Monaco. Here the title too dear andre ಏನು? Too costly. Who is too costly? The criminal is too costly. ಅವನಿಗೆ cutting off his head, that is also costly. Putting him in the prison for life imprisonment, ಅದು costly. Sending him away, ಅದು costlyನೇ, because pension ಕೊಡಬೇಕೀಗ. So everything is costly for him. That is why the story is titled Too Dear. Too dear means too costly. So this story is taken from old book prakara. This is taken from Guy de Maupassant's work. That is in French. Again, it has been translated into English. So this is a nice story. I hope you have understood. Next class alli I'll discuss the comprehension questions. 1 mark questions, 4 mark questions and 6 mark questions. So with that we'll be closing this story, second chapter. And mostly after that we may not be having videos. That's what father has told. So we'll be having only regular classes. Let us see how whatever they tell we'll continue. Okay then, thank you.